Hey there guys, it's Metro and welcome to The Price is Right. That's not actually the name of it. This is the dungeon called the Temple of Sethraliss, new dungeon on the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, and this is a pretty unique one, I have to say. I think this one is really cool. One of actually 4 new dungeons. When I recorded the first one, there's only 2 available, but now there's 2 new ones available, so I'll have to do those another day. But anyway, again, just like in the previous Underrot video, the log is going to be combined with that and this one, so check it out in the description. This dungeon is actually even easier than the Underrot. We never really have any trouble with trash, but there is some very unique things that I definitely want to show you in this dungeon. Things that really, frankly, set it apart from any other dungeon I've ever done in the game, and have the potential, in my opinion, to be very, to create a very strong legacy for Mythic Plus when that's finally playable. So we'll talk about that as we get there, but in the beginning there's not much to discuss. There's a very large troll guy with some snake men, and that seems a bit odd to me, but whatever they're doing, I don't care much for that. I'm not a big, even though I do, I've gotten a lot more interested in the lore. It doesn't really make any sense to me what's happening here, but all I know is there's human beings and then there's NPCs, and the human beings are going to fight and defeat the NPCs, and that is the main goal of the dungeon. So anyway, down here is pretty cool. There's kind of like a big, it kind of reminds me of, I can't remember what game it was, but it's, oh, I guess kind of like Sands of Time, Prince of Persia. It's pretty unique stuff here. There's kind of like a big, giant open area. It's kind of like a magical terrace of some sort, and you know, there's a bunch of trash around it, so we're going to pull the trash around it to avoid any problems with the boss. Now, the boss is actually quite interesting. I like to talk about this encounter. Effectively, it seems like you could displace these bosses. So I think this is not normal for bosses. Obviously, bosses don't normally, you can't normally grip bosses, but somebody went and aggroed it, and I'm just realizing that now. But I taunt it, and I grip it. So I've actually gripped one of the bosses, and the other boss is not engaged. So I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if that's on purpose, but I'm thinking, yo, we better go pull that because it might reset or bug out, and then we fight them both. I don't know. So anyway, the one does that tornado mechanic. I know it's like one does like windy mechanics, the other one does stormy mechanics. Frankly, that's about as much as I've gained from this. Like I said on the other dungeon, it's just exceedingly easy. It's really unfortunate, honestly, because I don't get a chance to learn anything, and really this dungeon doesn't teach me anything about any of the encounters. I will not be prepared to do these on any difficulty where it matters, but one way that we see some things that are really cool in this dungeon that I definitely want to bring up. But it's a pretty cool fight, and again, I gripped the other mobs, showing that you can actually grip both mobs. So hey man, Death Knight is so overpowered that it can actually grip bosses now. Oh boy, I can't wait to see can't wait to see what that's gonna look like in raids. But anyway, yeah, so pretty cool stuff. I like the idea of the bosses. They, you know, are meant to be 2 parts of the same encounter, and obviously that's going to be interesting for Mythic Plus, especially considering they don't seem to share health or have anything to do with each other. Frankly, like I said, we were able to pull one without pulling the other, so I assume that's a bug. I can't imagine that you're going to engage 50% of a boss fight and that be okay. But who knows? Who knows anymore, man? Blizzard's flipping the game on its head. Who knows what they're doing? But yeah, so now we're gonna go down this way. Same deal, just same type of trash. There's like a little trilobite let's not curse, but anyway, there's a trilobite guy kind of roaming around. There's a guy with a bow. He's gonna shoot that bow right there. He's not gonna do anything. There's a big troll guy who's gonna look way more dangerous than he is, and then there's gonna be some kind of healer that's gonna like cast a healing wave or something like that. Typically when healers cast, you want to interrupt it. So that's a pretty good idea. But anyway, not really much to talk about there. Interesting map. It's kind of just obviously a first pass at the map there, or maybe just like a placeholder map that just shows you the direct path to go. I thought that was quite interesting. I think it might actually just be a topographical map like the other areas in the world, but this area is really cool, and this is going to be the first point of interest. No, not quite yet. It's coming up though. Anyway, it's pretty cool. There's a bunch of snakes, and there's a bunch of like actual snakes and a bunch of snake men, and then there's a bunch of other snakes, and then there's a bunch of trilobites. So we're gonna pull them all together, and we're gonna go full man mode. I get hit really hard at one point, but otherwise I leech for probably about 700% of the damage I'm doing. I'm leeching, so pretty good. I got hit really hard there. I have 2 debuffs, but I don't have the foresight to hover over them or anything. I don't know what that was, but yeah, a little bit too aggressive, even though this is very easy. I don't actually know the mechanics of the dungeon, so going full on like this makes it a little bit not favorable. But you know, this is what it's going to look like in Mythic Plus. You're going to want to really carve out the time. You're going to want to save as much, get as much efficiency out of each pull as possible. And these packs are really made for that. They're right next to each other. They don't seem to, you know, prevent you from doing this, so that's pretty good. And I kind of go through this whole dungeon thinking that. I'd say, you know what? I'm a big bad blood DK with a 15% leech thing tied to my best ability. So how could we lose? You know, it's almost impossible to lose. That's the way I thought. You know, it's the way I grew up. Grew up thinking, you know, I can't lose. I'm a blood DK IRL. I mean, how are you gonna lose? So we're gonna see that. We're gonna see that throughout the dungeon. And unfortunately, we're not gonna live up to that. So I don't know. Anyway, there's a range mob over there. Try to grip him. He didn't get gripped. No idea why. Bunch of snakes. Put him in a cage. Feed them rats. It's about the best you can do, you know. Not much to say about the early part of this dungeon. In fact, it was quite boring. It was to the point where I was like, man, this sucks. Honestly, like I was not hyped up about this at all. And then we got to this part, and I was like, this part's pretty cool. I don't know, maybe this part's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see. And then we get to the part after that, and then I was like, all right, that part's pretty cool. And then I got to the part after that, and I was like, all right, this might be the coolest dungeon ever. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, same deal here. Just a standard single mob. Just gonna use large damaging abilities to reduce his health to 0. And now here's where things start to get a little interesting. So this whole room is filled with all kinds of mobs, and I don't necessarily know when and where half of it gets pulled, but we fight a large amount of it. And of course, no idea, never done this place before. A lot of them are healers. I think probably like 5 or 6 of them are healers. I think they're called tenders, something like that, like chicken tenders from McDonald's. And when they cast their ability, they heal everyone around them, I'm pretty sure. Something like it's like a flask. It's like a red flask cast or something like that. You can see it there. I can't see it because I'm not looking at the screen. But anyway, yeah, as you see, everything's full health. So big problem here. This is trash that is not necessarily avoidable. Like, well, obviously you're going to be able to avoid it if you wanted to. But I did not come into this pack looking to aggro this many things. And now another one comes in. You know what I mean? Like Khaled, just another one. And I was getting a bit out of control, let's put it that way. We're not making any progress here. Luckily, this is normal. Absolutely bombastic DPS. Mobs are so weak compared to us that they might as well retire and give us their number. But I don't know, like, you're not going to do this. You're not going to be able to do this in Mythic Plus. There's just no way. Unless something changes about how these mobs operate, they just spam heal each other. And it's to the point where, I mean, obviously we don't have a very, like, we're not coordinated in any way. We do have very many, I mean, we have 4 stuns in this group, don't we? Pretty sure every spec in this group has a stun now. So yeah, we should not have problems with locking these mobs out, but we're not doing it. Whatever. Too bad we don't have any blood death knights. Blood death knights, bad joke. I was trying to say blood elves, but of course, anyway, that hopefully you guys know what happened to blood elves. But anyway, so yeah, these mobs are just gonna heal each other, and this is a prime example of what we've been talking about in all of these videos, talking about Mythic Plus. It's going to significantly slow down the pace of the dungeon, and it's going to heavily, it's going to demand that you're coordinated. It's going to require you to be coordinated in order to kill this pack as quickly as possible. Because if you pull like this, which, you know, a lot of people are probably going to want to do, you're not going to be able to kill these mobs quick enough because they're just going to spam heal each other. And then yet there's still another mob out there, another mob that we need to pull. So I don't necessarily know where they're coming from. I don't know. Like, I did not set out to aggro all of this, but we managed to do so. And a couple mobs patted into us. A couple of them kind of just got close, etc. But certainly an eye-opening experience after the first, few minutes in this dungeon. I was thinking like, oh, this dungeon seems pretty lame. So anyway, here's a funny little thing here. I'm like, oh, what's this? Maybe we could walk out here? Oh, no, we can't. Let's see. Oh, there's a giant snake. All right, so this boss is actually quite interesting. I didn't necessarily learn anything here yet, really either. But one thing I will say about this fight is that it's actually got a pretty unique mechanic. And I'm not sure exactly how it interacts, but anyway, he's going to do a big puddle there, and it's going to drop all kinds of green slime on the ground. And then the boss is going to go underground, summon some ads. So this is really bad. This is a really bad dungeon if you're scared of snakes. I know a couple people who are deathly afraid of snakes, and they already contacted me about Mythic Plus carries because they're not going to be able to play the game. They're going to have to play it blindfolded. So that's going to be tough for them. But anyway, so the boss is saying it's underground. and it does it, and then it's like still underground, and then I think it does it again. Yeah, it does it again, and at this point I'm like, wait a second. Eureka. So you actually have to get hit by it. And this makes me think that the rest of the room might interact with it in some way. It reminds me of a fight. I don't remember what the fight was, but there's been a fight like that in dungeons before where you have to like convince the mob to run into you or something. I can't remember. But anyway, pretty unique. I'd say it's relatively unique, right? The ads don't really know what their purpose is, other than, like I said, to torment those with snake-trophobia or whatever. I can't remember the scientific term, but so here I am. I'm trying to chase this thing down, and I just miss it. Just miss it. So I don't know if it's possible to break it at that point. Then it comes back across, and we do hit it that time, and then that's that for that, as they say. So not a lot of health. Doesn't require much damage, but does take a while because it's constantly unattackable, which, yeah, I don't know, suboptimal. I'm not in love with stuff like that, but it is a pretty unique encounter. This definitely better. Let's put it that way. Definitely better. This actually reminds me a lot of Neltharion's Lair, and it's definitely better than the Cups game, 100%. So anyway, here's some really cool stuff going on here. We got a bunch of lightning elementals, and at this point, this is where my second moment came, and I was like, huh, this is interesting. What is this? So we're fighting these mobs, and down right in front of us, there's actually going to be a couple of these semi-like mechanical areas. And they have this, when you get in them, they have this buff or debuff, whatever you want to call it, that says something about collecting energy. So there's multiple types of orbs there. There's small blue orbs. They knock you back. And then there's larger purple orbs, and they give you a stack of this shit on the ground. Now, I don't know what the purpose of this is, frankly, because it doesn't seem to do anything. I actually go way out of my way to get as many of these. I thought I had to get the small blue orbs at first because the color of it is, but yeah, you don't actually get that. You get the purple, the bigger purple orbs. So you just kind of bob and weave through the smaller blue orbs, and then you eventually get the bigger purple orbs. And meanwhile, my group's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Let's go. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't seem to do anything. So I'm definitely assuming that it has something, some interaction in the dungeon. Frankly, I don't know why. Welcome, thanks for the follow, man. I don't know why it wouldn't have some interaction. I'm not really sure why it would be there otherwise. So I didn't learn about it, but it does seem pretty interesting. And this part of the dungeon is pretty standard, but again, it really does. It kind of looks and reminds me of Neltharion's Lair, and I think this is probably going to be a dungeon that's pretty easy, boss-wise. They don't seem to be too complicated. Similar mechanics to Neltharion's Lair too, actually, if you think about it. But yeah, I don't know. Now these packs kind of surprised me. Something weird happens here. You see, I aggro those. They're not coming. And I'm like, all right, let's go grip them. And then I'm like, oh wait, what? They're porting over to us. So, oh, that one ported, and then the final one's gonna port. Hey there, guys, it's port. And yeah, I don't know. Not really sure what's happening there, but I don't know. The ground looks awesome. If I was to judge the dungeon based on the interest of the ground, I would say this dungeon is very unique, graphically, really, and mechanically too. But graphically, it's quite impressive. I really like it. It's not really gorgeous, but it's very unique. And this expansion sounds like it's going to be all about that. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, another boss coming out here. Looking at this, look at that. That is so cool looking. I'm like, whoa, that's cool. That's magical. It's not magical. Oh my god, it's a boss. And again, learn literally nothing about him. Just pop everything. I don't know. People are doing a lot of damage in this run, so it's hard to figure things out when you guys are. I don't know. It's funny because the first builds I was in, people were doing like 1k DPS, and now people are doing like 3 and 4k DPS. And I don't know what to think about that because I don't know if that's intentional. The powers that be would say they haven't done any tuning yet. Classes have clearly gotten a lot stronger over the time, so it's kind of a lie. But regardless, one way or the other, I don't think this is going to be this easy. But this is only normal, so I don't know. It's hard to complain, but as you see, the boss has some kind of bar. Doesn't change. Don't know. I have literally no idea what's happening here. I don't think it matters. We just stood still. We didn't do anything. There's like a pillar channeling on me. Then he does this. Boss dies before it even happens. So who knows? Could be anything. Could literally summon Ragnaros or Thunderen, actually. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, another one of these. This time the balls are shooting up in the air. So I don't know how we would get them. Just going to avoid it this time. And then there's like a little puzzle here. Not really a puzzle, but Kind of reminds me of Blackrook. So at this point, I'm like, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. Way more interesting than I originally gave it credit for. There's a mob here channeling. Is actually creating that force field. And then I see down there's a big snake head. And a bunch of mobs. Oh, they're non-elites. Non-elites. Interesting. Bunch of non-elites in a big room. Oh, and there's these 2 circular objects on the ground that we can click on. I wonder what we do with those. Now, they perhaps are something that we grab and use. I think we're going to use them in some way that's going to progress the dungeon. Oh, but these mobs look like they respawn. So it's Blackrock Depths. I was like, oh my god, dude, this is so cool. Or Blackrock Depths. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, like the end of BRD, right? Where the you have to get the torches. It's like pretty much exactly that. You have to get these orbs. You have to take the orbs to the snake head, and you have to put them in the eye sockets. Now, I wasn't able to interact with this myself because if you get attacked when you have the orb, you drop it. But it's a really cool looking orb, as you can see. It actually looks really cool. You have to take it over this snake thing. And I don't know if it's bugged or not because it's like the snake has an eye in it already. I don't know. We couldn't figure this out. And unfortunately, this is gonna be the end of the video because it bugs out. But one way or the other, I want to applaud Blizzard for creatively reintroducing a really cool mechanic from BRD. These mobs infinitely respawn, and there's another mob type that's not like that's a regular elite. It's called like something guardian or something like that, and it kind of steals the orb from you. So if you're struggling to get through this quick enough, the guardian's going to come and take the orb and put it back on the pedestal, which I think is awesome. It actually happened to us once in the video already. Probably going to happen a couple times because what's happening here is, first of all, I didn't know we needed both of these. So we're going to come and get this one. Actually able to get this one without aggroing, which is kind of peculiar. But then, of course, everything behind us gets aggro. Now, something really weird happens here. I don't know how or when this happens, but we lose the orbs. Now, that one just went through that pillar. I'm trying to figure it out as I'm watching. No, it's still there. So anyway, we cannot complete this, and I don't necessarily know why. But we have these 2 orbs, and they're not functioning properly. They're not cooperating. I'm not really sure. But one guy does something really dumb, and that's going to ruin our run. But it looks like... Is one gone now? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But anyway, ideally, I imagine what you're going to do is you're going to take the orbs, you're going to put them in the eye sockets, and then the mouth is going to like open or something. Yeah, it looks like we lost one. We had 2, now we have 1. So I don't know if 1 went back. I don't know. So anyway, I'm trying to fiddle with it, trying to figure it out. Click on the skull, doesn't seem to work. I'm not really sure. Whatever. Got a tank, get the mobs. So the other people in our group start grabbing it. Actually, one of the NPCs grabbed it there and tried to get away with it, but can't get out of my death and decay. It's way too slow. So anyway, watch this. This is really funny. It's like a Price is Right moment. That's why I made the joke at the beginning. It's like, boom, boom, boom. You know that failure sound on the Price is Right. You guys remember that? Watch what he does. It's pretty funny. It's coming up here. So anyway, the guy's like throwing it all around, trying to figure it out. We don't really know what to do. It's like an ability where you like click it and it says throw it, and then you can throw it on the ground, right? So it looks like you're supposed to like throw it into the skull or something. I don't know. I still don't really know. But it's a really cool mechanic, way more interesting than the BRD thing. And watch what he does here. This is really funny. Keep your eye on the orb. Might be a couple seconds still, but he does something that's hilarious. It's just so ripped. Like, that's it. Obviously, it's a bug. I reported it, but it's coming up here. So anyway, I'm just fighting him out. But this makes you think. Like, Mythic Plus of this is going to be really interesting because I don't know. First of all, if these mobs are how they're gonna interact with the affixes, like necrotic, bolstering, whatever. But there's a lot of mobs, and they don't stop coming. And this is only normal. And we're struggling to kill them fast enough to prevent them from respawning on us. And this guy's up there. He's like, hey guys, I don't know what to do with this. What should I do? Obviously, I probably wouldn't know either, but you're supposed to put it in the head at some point. I'm not really sure how. But anyway, watch this. It's coming up. I swear it's coming up. Come on, throw it. Don't do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it now. Watch. Watch this. Nope. I gripped the mob away. He's trying to run away from it. He throws it. Doesn't work. We're not doing well here, guys. We're struggling. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Don't worry. Relax. We're going to get it. We got this. Believe. You just got to believe. But anyway, like I said, we're fighting these mobs. This is pretty much BRD style. This happens all the time in BRD. It's to the point where in BRD that if you don't, if you don't have a good AoE comp, you literally can't complete the dungeon because people don't know how to complete it without cleave or AoE, And I could see that happening here. I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm interested in seeing how this part of the dungeon plays out. But yeah, we kind of got a little bit of a lull here. Someday, I obviously oversold this. I thought it was going to happen sooner. It must happen right at the end. So I don't know why he threw it that direction. Maybe because he is actually playing blindfolded as well. Maybe he's intensely scared of snakes, as some of us are. But great dungeon for Blood Death Knight, I have to say it. Any dungeon where there's this small fodder trash, it can all get gripped together, is going to significantly increase or decrease the time required to kill it. Okay, here we go. It's definitely happening now. Grip that mob away from it. He's going to get back up there. Here we go. Watch this. Man, I've really oversold this, haven't I? Alright, someday. It's going to happen someday. Anyway. Oh, yeah, there he goes. He throws it into the wall. He throws it into the wall. And it is now stuck in there. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.